Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more Legacy of the Void beta. Today I'm going to show you a game that I played yesterday versus the one and only Dragon. For whatever reason, he's actually playing under the name Leash. Or Leash or something like that on the ladder right now. But it's actually Dragon. He was streaming at the time as well. And in this game, I wanted to give you an example of what most of my games in Legacy of the Void looks like, right? Like in the last couple days, I've been trying to like upload these really gimmicky or really awesome games or like in-depth macro games or like the games where we have some cool strategies going down. But more often than not, in the majority of my games, I am playing quite cheesy. Lately, I've been actually focusing a lot on like the what's it called? The Ravager early on. And since it morphs off of a roach, it means you can actually get it out really early on and you can deal some aggression with it. So instead of like the, you know, the standard in Heart of the Swarm would be like some roach, zergling, bailing aggression. Right now you can sort of like skip out on the whole bailing part and go ahead and go straight into Ravagers, because Ravagers sort of have like this corrosive bow ability that's very similar to the bailings, and it actually still allows you to sort of like break wall-ins and all these kind of things. Now I'd like to say right off the bat as well, that in a one-on-one game in Heart of the Swarm, I am sure that Dragon will beat me like 99 times out of 10, because, or like, that doesn't even make sense. But what I'm trying to say is that Dragon is a much better player than me in Heart of the Swarm. But obviously, since it is Legacy of the Void, Zerg actually got a couple of new tricks up its sleeve. And, you know, I wanted to show you this game right here, just to give you a good example of what the majority of the games look like. So, one thing that I've noticed from Terran players is that they love going for Mech. They love going for the Cyclone Hellbat. What else is there? Like Widowmine Siege Tank sort of like composition. It's a lot of mechanical units, and what it basically ends up being like is the fact that, you know, you can get out like a very like mobile Terran army that really wasn't possible in Heart of the Swarm. Now I am a little bit confused right here. I thought there was a command center first by my opponent, well, my first overlord actually overextending a little bit, and I decided to tell him I thought it was a CC first, command center first right there. But yeah, it is actually kind of interesting to see how this one all turned out. So I'm gonna go, well, there we go. I see this little high ground right here. I'm like, well, can he actually attack me up here? Can he actually attack me up here? Turns out he can. Or he can't. So my overlord does stay alive after all. But anyways, so what I decided to open up right here is with a double gas. Guys are very early on into the game. I do have the double queens on the way right now as well, and very soon you will see me starting up my roach warren as well. So like I mentioned, Ravagers in total cost 100 minerals and 100 gas. They're not a cheap unit by any means, but since you can get them out so early on, like the same cost of like a Mutalisk, but since you actually can get them before getting a Lair up and before getting all of these upgrades, it is very cool to see how they play out, because right now Zerg basically has an option to be aggressive and still be like in a pretty reasonable economy position, whereas in Heart of the Swarm you really are the one playing super defensive all the time. Now, there is a lot of discussion out right now about people talking about how OP the Ravager is or how OP the Cyclone is. And I'll be honest in admitting that it definitely does seem very strong. But the one thing that I've noticed from like the very first day of the beta is that people are already starting to deal with the units so much better than they were at the very beginning of the beta. Like right now, people are already adjusting their build orders to basically play defensive against this build. And I think if Dragon would switch up one little thing, he would completely decimate the timing attack that I am going to be executing in this game. So, I'm secretly hoping that Blizzard will wait a little bit before they like throw out the nerf bat, because both Terran players and Protoss players are starting to adjust just fine to the Ravager aggression. But the one thing that's a bit tough to deal with as Zerg is actually the Cyclone. But anyways, that's a whole different topic. But, you know, what I was trying to say there is that basically, you know, everyone's already talking balance, but it seems like just the adjustment of the build orders and whatnot should give a very good indication of how things are going. And I think in the near future, maybe in about a week or so, everyone will be just fine and just super safe against this Ravager only. But for right now, it's working. So I do have the queens injecting right there. I do have a pretty good amount of saturation in my bases right now as well, actually full saturation, and I'm gonna be running a couple Zerglings up here. And I notice, hey, there is a third command center out right there. Third command center seems a little bit greedy right now, and while I planned on doing only a little bit of aggression, I decided to switch it up. I did decide to go for a massive amount of army, because knowing that my opponent is having that third command center up, I'm gonna have a hard time dealing with that already. Like, my third hatchery isn't even done yet, and he's already having 3 mules mining. That's kind of scary. I do also notice though that there is a bunker down, and there's also a siege tank. Now, the corrosive bio ability of the Ravager actually deals with both just fine, but you do need to be in range to actually shoot the missile. So more often than not, the siege tank is still going to be able to shoot once or twice or 3 times before you can actually get the corrosive bio ability gone, and you know, it's still kind of scary. Now, one thing to note as well about the Ravager is that it does require 1 extra supply to morph it off of a road, so you do want to make sure you have that supply available. But here we go. I am moving in with a lot of units. He is scanning right now, knowing that I do not have a Lair done. He's going to be a little bit suspicious about exactly what's happening, and here we go. I'm going to start moving in. Now, I do want to try and nuke down that those units that he has by the best of my abilities, and here's what I was trying to say there. It seems to me that more often than not, you really don't have to worry about banelings anymore, because the Ravagers will deal with these like defensive structures and these like defensive units just fine. You just sort of attack move in there with the corrosive bile, and all of a sudden things are disappearing. So once again, corrosive bile going down on that siege tank right there. It does end up falling, and all of a sudden things aren't looking that bad. Now, that doesn't mean that I cannot mix in banelings at all. Maybe I actually would have been better off like adding like 5 banelings into this as well. It's hard to say, but it's just a matter of testing out, and you definitely are able to deal with damage right now with just some Ravagers and some Zerglings. I'm already starting to transition towards a Lair. I do plan on going up to a Lair, maybe get some Hydras going, maybe get some upgrades going as well. So Lair going down right now as well. But I notice, hey, he actually really doesn't have much of anything. So I do decide to rally a couple more units across the map, but I'm following this up with more and more drones, knowing that my opponent is likely going to be able to hold this, and I really don't want to be in like a super all-in situation. Now, one thing to note about the corrosive bio ability of the Ravager is that it actually does deal friendly damage. So the Zerglings actually do die to that ability. So I need to be very, very careful about exactly what is going on. Now, I do decide to follow this up with more Zerglings, seeing that things are going super well. Splitting off a couple Zerglings, running those towards the main base right here, trying to kill as many SCVs as I possibly can, and just trying to split them up, just attack moving right now, making sure that things are looking good for us. I'm starting up the +1 missile upgrade right now, as well as the armor upgrade, and more gas as well. Knowing that if I want to go either Lurker, or if I want to go like Ravagers, I'm gonna need a lot of that gas. So there we go. 2 more siege tanks are finishing up right now, but I did end up killing a substantial amount of workers. 35 workers going down so far. And more and more Zerglings actually are running in right now, and all of a sudden, I didn't think he was expecting that, he decides to GG out. So, the one thing that I would probably adjust if I was a Terran player in this situation is just simply delay this 3rd command center. Like, this is a super aggressive 3rd command center, and seeing that thing just sort of allows the Zerg to go with an aggressive move while still having a solid economy behind it. And it's not so much to say that the Ravager is like super powerful, while it actually is very, very powerful. But it's not to say like the Ravager is just imbalanced. It just seems that a lot of Terran players are still playing like the Heart of the Swarm builds, and they just sort of get decimated by it. Actually, wow, he already had a 4th command center down as well. Wow, the greed is real right here. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Also, if you want to see more Legacy of the Void content, and very soon I'm also going to be covering some Terran and Protoss, hit that subscribe button below the video so you will get a notification when I upload another one. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one.